Hello everyone and welcome back to another book review. Today I am reviewing the first book in a new series, The Remarried Empress. This is volume 1 and this is what the cover looks like. The original story is by Alphatart. I believe this was originally a webtoon or webcomic. It's adapted by HereLee with the art by SUMPUL. All those will be in the information box. So this book is a love story that starts at the end or the ending of one relationship, which I found really intriguing. Romance is not really my cup of tea, but I was intrigued by the concept when I pulled this book off my shelf or the shelf at the library. It's a graphic novel format that I really liked the colors and style of, and so I decided to give it a try. So we were kind of going out of my comfort zone, but I thought it might be interesting, so I took it home with me. I'm going to discuss plot, character, what I liked about this, and who I think might enjoy this book, because I was pleasantly surprised by The Remarried Empress Volume 1. So the story begins at the end, and there's a quote on the back that I think sums up the beginning of this series perfectly. It's a quote, "I accept this divorce and request an approval of my remarriage," which is the opening scene in the series as well. So you immediately know from the start, we're kind of starting partway through the story and then we rewind. So the beginning is there is a divorce between the Empress, whose name is Navier, I'm pronouncing these names the best I can, and the Emperor Sovieshu. And you wonder what's going wrong, there seems to be another woman involved, what happened? And then we go back, we're going back in time to figure out what's going on and how we reach this point of divorce. I'm assuming this divorce is the jumping off point for the remarriage part, so that's what I'm assuming, but I haven't really covered that because we're not to the divorce point at all in volume 1. So the story begins, the main focus is on the Empress Navier. She comes from a family that kind of raises empresses, not necessarily like contractually, but they just have, I guess, like good women. I don't really know how else to describe it. I'm assuming they're people who are maybe upper class, aristocratic, I do not like the phrase well-bred, but schooled in manners, know how to do statecraft, women who might be good candidates to become an empress to support an emperor of the fantasy realm that they are living in. That's what I'm going to phrase this as. This is a fantasy realm, so we're just taking some things with a grain of salt. She has married Emperor Sovieshu. This is someone that she knew she was going to marry for a while, and you have the understanding that maybe this isn't a deep, passionate love, but they're two people who have known they're going to work together and marry, so they have gotten to know each other over many years, and the marriage is stable. Now, understanding that you have an emperor and an empress, and the marriage is not just about them, the marriage is also about appearing together and being stable for the realm, for the people that they rule. So I would say love probably doesn't come into the equation very much in a marriage like this, and so the rules of marriage that maybe people, when I think of like modern day marriages, abide by are definitely out the window a little bit when you come to marriages like this. So their marriage, at least my understanding at the beginning, is okay, it's decent, they are doing just fine, they might not have a passionate burning love, but they do respect each other and things are going well. However, the Emperor Sovieshu decides to take a mistress, a girl he stumbles across in the woods, just is so beautiful that he falls in love with her and he takes her home to be his mistress. Now, this is not necessarily uncommon. The Empress understands that her husband at some point may take a mistress, and it does seem like there's a balance of power. She's also allowed to take someone on the side. They just need to appear together, to do things together, to appear leading their country together, and that's the most important thing for their nation. But the way that the emperor does this is very quickly shown to be kind of cruel. He's moving very quickly. He's not consulting his wife in any of this, which is the polite thing to do, because they're even within the mistress and the wife still holds the power. The empress, I should say, not just wife, but the empress holds a lot of power in the household. So to not consult her and to not be like, okay, you are the empress, this is a marriage of convenience and for the state and for show, and I'm going to take a mistress. You are definitely welcome to take someone on your own. That is the arrangement that we're working with. You definitely get the sense that he's quickly manipulated and falls so in love that he doesn't really abide by these unspoken rules for how you address these things when you're in a marriage like this. So take it or leave it. And I do have to say, if you don't like this other woman being involved in your love stories, this is not the story for you. But I immediately find that Rashta, who is the girl who becomes the mistress, becomes deeply unlikable. She is not just, and I understand because on one hand, I was like, well, if you are an emperor and you're like, I'm interested in you being my mistress, how much of a vote no do you actually have? Like, can you really say no without repercussions? And you definitely get the sense that Rashta is hiding something. She comes from a difficult past, so she may want to move up. But she also very quickly starts breaking these unspoken social conventions, like never upstaging the queen, just managing your space, recognizing that you have your area of influence and control, and you're the role of the mistress. And again, it's this upper society kind of highly formulaic, but Rashta also has a cruel side, which in my opinion comes out very quickly. She's very manipulative, and that makes her deeply unlikable to me as a reader. So I don't like Rashta, not necessarily because she is the king's mistress and we're kind of focusing on Empress Navier, who may be hurt by this decision, but because I actually don't think Rashta is a good person. I actually do not like her at all, at least initially from volume 1. So I'm a little put off by Rashta, and I think Rashta has kind of manipulated Sobieshu, and now they're kind of moving away from the Empress, which could be fine, except the fact that he's breaking all these unspoken social conventions that need to be discussed beforehand because it's causing all sorts of inner turmoil and problems. Navier, the Empress, though, has started a correspondence with a hidden pen pal, via bird. And we kind of have this image of a feather on the back to kind of indicate that she's talking to someone who might have an interest in speaking with her. And this also corresponds with the arrival of a prince. I'm going to say Henry. I'm pronouncing the names the best I can. Prince Henry at the court, who very clearly has a little bit of an interest in the Empress. And I definitely think we get a little bit of maybe tension there, but you definitely also feel like Navier knows how to be polite and address things calmly. But we're going to see what goes on with Prince Henry and this bird, he is the one corresponding with Navier with the bird. That is an open secret. He's the one doing this corresponding. So Navier is talking to Prince Henry, and it's a little bit of a fun thing to distract her from this whole mess that's going on with her husband, the Emperor Sobieshu, and his new mistress, Rashta. So overall, I really like this story because it's not just one relationship. We kind of have 3 relationships that we're managing. We have the Emperor and the Empress's relationship. We have the relationship with the Empress Navier and Prince Henry. And then we have the relationship between the Emperor Sobieshu and Rashta. So we kind of have 3 different things going on, but the Emperor and the Empress are also, of course, still together. So it's not just the individual ones with their individual relationships. They're being pulled in 2 different directions, which makes the story kind of interesting. Rashta, again, is an incredibly unlikable character. I do not like her at all. I hope she gets her just desserts. She seems very annoying, and also I think she gives off a vibe of innocence, but she definitely 100% knows what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows the reaction that she's going to get, and I think she's manipulating a little bit the Emperor to get his way and to do things that a normal mistress wouldn't do, because she's not just doing things to secure her position within the court, she's doing things to intentionally antagonize the Empress, which I feel like cannot end well. Normally, romance is not my cup of tea, but this book definitely sold me. I think all the individual elements were just so well done, and I liked the characters, and that made me like the story. And I feel like I don't know how to convey this, but I want to give extra props when an author from a genre I don't normally like intrigues me so much that I read it and I enjoy it a lot. So if I were to read a sci-fi book, I'm naturally very drawn to sci-fi. I love sci-fi. I read sci-fi. I love it. I like it. The author's great. I give it props. 5 out of 5 stars, 4 out of 5 stars. Amazing book. But I feel like when I read a book like The Remarried Empress, which is a romance book, which I normally would not ever go for, and the author can get me over that initial hurdle and still deliver a 4-star or 5-star read, I would probably say this is like a 4.5 star read. I feel like I need to give extra props because that author not only delivered a good product, a good book, but they also were able to draw in a reader from someone who doesn't normally read their genre. So I think that just gives extra credit in a way to the author. I really want to say I think this book was great, and I'm so excited to keep reading. I feel like there's a level where I know the outcome. I know this will eventually at some point lead to a divorce scene, but knowing how we get there is still very, very interesting, and I'm excited to keep reading the series. If you've read the series, please let me know. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.